I genuinely sometimes feel like my parents, mainly mom, hate me. I 17F have a good relationship with my mom on the outside, but really I feel like I'm barely anything to her. She constantly disregards my feelings. And my technically stepdad, to me he's my actual dad, doesn't really think about my feelings either. There's a lot, so I understand if you don't want to read any of it. I'm going to start working with my stepdad soonish. I've been waiting to start working because I would like to be a kid while I still can. But I'll be starting work with him when I turn 18. He's a head chef and I'll be one of his cooks. It's a pretty easy job with pretty decent pay. These past 2 months he constantly compares me to his dumb employees. My mom asked me to stir some food real quick and I did, and after I gave it a quick stir I continued to stir it just because, and he looks over at me and says, "When you work for me you can't be stirring food like that, you actually need to stir it good." It was ground beef, it didn't even need to he stirred well. Another time I was unloading the dishwasher and I asked my mom where to put something. My mom got mad at me because I was trying to make room for it and I wasn't doing it right, so she snatched it from me and started slamming stuff down to fix it and was pissed. My dad then says something along the lines of, "Whenever one of my employees asks me where something goes and I put it up for them, they get that same look on your face because they know it was so simple." Then I started crying because he made me feel like an idiot over something so small. Then my mom in an annoyed tone asked me why I was crying and I just didn't say anything, finished up and went to my room. Nothing was said about it again. Lately, it's been getting more ridiculous. My mom does defend me when necessary. She told him he needs to stop. He said he was trying to prepare me. He pretty much didn't think I was capable because of how little I do at home when I do more than he does. And my mom did tell him that. I clean my room and I clean one of our bathrooms. The only bathroom I use. And I babysit my siblings all the time. While they go to the store with the baby, I stay home watching a 2-year-old, 4-year-old, and 6-year-old. I leave the house 3 times a month if I'm lucky, and it's normally for not longer than 2 hours. He does things all the time that he would get after me for. My mom even agrees with this. I just don't understand why he's so picky with me. It genuinely hurts my feelings that he doesn't believe I can work for him well. I don't even know why he wants to hire me. Now with my mom, anytime she does anything to make me upset, I have to conceal it and pretend it didn't happen because she can't handle being told she's doing something wrong in any way. I've started having panic attacks when we get into big arguments. I start to hyperventilate and she always slams my door and walks away. I can joke around and have a good laugh with my parents a lot, and we can have some good conversations and a good time. But sometimes my mom acts so annoyed when I'm talking to her. Like she just doesn't want to talk to me, and she makes it pretty obvious. Which hurts my feelings, of course. She acts like I'm not adult enough for her to talk to or something. I'll talk about a subject with her and she's so short and doesn't feed in, only when my dad is home. Then we'll turn around and talk to my dad about the same topic and be so interested. And when I try to join in, she's short with me. I remember when my mom and my dad first got together, I was 8, almost 9. Him and I had a pretty good relationship, but it got destroyed because my mom was embarrassed of me and my older sister being around. After work, he'd always sit in the living room watching something with my mom until dinner or bedtime. Anytime we try to go in there, she'd always tell us to go. Even when she was watching a kid-appropriate show/movie. So for a few years we barely spoke. He barely knew anything about me. Then we did get closer, thankfully. My mom barely buys me anything. And it's so weird. Anytime I'd ask for money to hang out with a friend, she'd always act like it was a big deal. Anytime she'd take me to hang out with a friend, she'd complain about having to take me the whole drive. Even when I was too young to drive. She always makes me feel bad for having a life. But now I barely even have one, I just sit inside all day. I asked her to buy me 2 of the Monster High movies. Don't judge, they're nostalgic, and I wanted to show them to my siblings. They were $5 each. She said we were too broke to get them. 2 days later, she spent $150 on clothes for my siblings when she buys them new clothes pretty much every week. I told her I'd give her $10, and she agreed. Now, thankfully, she forgot, and I didn't have to give her the cash. Then a week later, I asked if she could buy me 3 of them. Then she told me she no longer owes me $7. I gave her cash so I could use her card, and I still had $7 left, and that she'd pay for the rest. Then I realized there was another I wanted, so I just gave her the $5 in cash because I knew she'd say no if I didn't. I literally barely ask for anything, so I'm not sure why she can't buy me a couple of $5 to $10 movies. I'm very limited with my money since my only income is Christmas and birthday money. I also buy pretty much all my clothes now. She'll take me shopping once a year, but she hasn't done that this year, and I don't think she will. I know this issue will be solved once I get a job because I'll have my own money then, but that's not the point. She shouldn't be so stingy with me, I'm her fucking kid. She also rants to me about how broke we are, and that she doesn't want to worry my dad, so I guess she'll just worry me instead. She also won't stop having kids. A week after she had my youngest siblings, she already said she wanted another kid. Which if we're so broke, I have no idea why she's even thinking about having another kid. That should be the last thing on her mind until we're more financially stable. My siblings are my whole life and soul. But I can't handle another one. I can't handle my mom being pregnant again. She already makes me and my siblings miserable when she's in a bad mood because she has to get snappy with everyone, and it's 10 times worse when she's pregnant. I remember once when she was pregnant, she kept complaining over and over that she thought this game was giving me more gold loot than her. The game is balanced, so that just meant she had better gear than me. And when I'd explain that to her, she'd just get more mad. Then it somehow turned into an argument because I was starting to get annoyed, and I guess me showing any kind of annoyance is me giving attitude, even just by my face looking annoyed. So we were just screaming at each other, which I try not to do because there's literal small children in the house who don't need to witness that, but I guess that wasn't my mom's concern. We don't have arguments because I'm the one who bites my tongue. She has to make everything about her, and she's always somehow a victim in things that barely have anything to do with her. There's so much more, but I'll finish off with the most get up thing of all. I've made posts about a few of the things I've mentioned, including this, but all this is very crucial so you can know it's rough. When I was 5, I was essayed by my bio dad's dad, and I was watching my favorite movie when it happened. Obviously, it was a traumatic experience, but I don't really let it affect me now. He committed suicide after I told and denied that it happened in his letter. The movie I was watching was the movie Robots, and it's safe to say that movie is ruined for me. My mom knows that was the movie I watched when it happened. But for some reason, she has the movie bought on Prime Video and plays the movie for my siblings to watch. She doesn't turn it on in front of me, but I'll pass by the living room and see it on. It makes me sick to my stomach that she just has it bought like it's nothing. Out of all the movies in the world, she had to buy that one. My siblings don't even like it that much, thankfully. She doesn't put it on often at all. She probably plays it 2 to 3 times a year tops. That I know of anyway. I don't understand how you can put a movie on that someone you love, let alone your child, has a horrible experience with the movie involved in. I wouldn't even do that to my sworn enemy. I obviously haven't said anything lately because the one time I did remind her I didn't like the movie, all she said was, "I know," and left the movie on. I was like 10, and that was a clear indicator she for sure knew and didn't care. I'm sorry, I know this was a lot, but there's so much more. These are just things that have happened recently. There is a lot of good moments with my mom, and looking at us, you'd never think any of this occurred, because I act like none of it happened. I have to because I'll destroy the relationship we do have if I start anything, and it will destroy my household. The environment will become an unlivable hell, and my mom will be in an awful mood anytime I set foot in the same room as her. I wouldn't care if I didn't have little siblings, but I do, and I'm not gonna FCK things up for them just because I'm hurt. I'm doing it for them. And for my dad, he doesn't really know majority of this even happened. He's at work a lot of the day. But the things he has been here for, he's never taken my side, had my back, or even tried understanding my end. He just takes her side because she's my mom and I need to respect her, which I've learned means I can't have any negative feelings about her and show it. I'm constantly keeping it in, and I feel like a ticking time bomb that could explode any moment. All the sadness she's made me feel has just turned into anger that is really, really hard to hold back sometimes. And sometimes when I think about everything she has done, I feel nothing. I'm really scared I'm destroying myself. The thing that destroyed me the most was when I was trying to talk to her about it by saying I feel like she doesn't care, I was trying to say she didn't care how I felt about a specific situation, but I was really upset, so it was hard to talk. She immediately got pissed, and instead of trying to see why I felt that way and how she could make it better, she told me she couldn't believe I just told her she didn't care about me, and I told her that's not what I meant, and I started hyperventilating. And she slammed my door and walked away. I don't think I've ever felt such defeat in my life. I wish I could say my life is good in other aspects, but other than my beautiful younger siblings, I have nothing. It's hard to see a future for myself when I've given up on myself to better a future for my siblings as much as I can. They are the only thing keeping me going, because there is absolutely no way my mom loves me.